Is this the human value you call friendship?
Don't give me the Star Trek crap. It's too early in the morning.
Sorry, that never gets old. Consider that clip the theme song of any Star Trek-related video I do in this series. So yeah, time to compare Red Dwarf's Gunmen of the Apocalypse to Star Trek The Next Generation's A Fistful of Datas. Once again, the point here is not to accuse either show of ripping off the other. This is just for fun. Like I said when I compared Clues to Thanks for the Memory, two different shows that take place on a giant ship where space exploration is involved are bound to have other things in common. And once again, since I've basically talked about Gunmen twice, I'll be focusing more on Fistful. In all likelihood, I probably won't be doing a series of vlogs on any Star Trek shows, so this is really the only time I'll ever get to talk about it.
Captain's log, stardate 46271.5.
This is actually another episode that starts with the crew having free time. It doesn't have anything to do with the main plot, but there's a really cute bit in the beginning where Picard is trying to play his flute, and he gets interrupted about every 5 seconds.
Computer, pause playback. Come! Computer, pause recording. Come! Computer, pause recording. Yes!
Picard getting pissed off is just so funny. He's just so proper and dignified 90% of the time that anytime he deviates from that, it's always unexpected and hilarious. Anyway, one of those interruptions was Geordi and Data asking permission to do an experiment where they try to use Data's processing abilities to run critical systems in case of main computer failure.
In theory, my neural network should be able to sustain key systems until primary control is restored.
Another one is Worf trying to create more work to do.
I simply wish to use the extra time.
Enjoy yourself. You have the free time. Use it.
What did he say?
The captain saw fit to release me from my duties.
Nah, he was trying to avoid spending time with his kid.
Saddle up, Father.
Oh god, this is gonna be cute, isn't it? Right away you can probably see why I wanted to compare this episode to Gunmen. The main plot takes place on the holodeck in a spaghetti western style adventure. Red Dwarf's version was basically a virtual reality game, but narratively it functions the same as the holodeck, even though that's more like augmented reality. We even have one of the characters being the town sheriff.
Why is he a sheriff in some old western?
19th century Earth, the ancient West.
I like how instead of the Old West, it's now the Ancient West.
So, we are in law enforcement.
Right.
Worf is like, okay, I think maybe I can work with this.
You wrote this holodeck program yourself.
Well, Mr. Barkley helped a little.
Poor Barkley is never going to live down his holodeck activities, is he? Seriously, though, I loved that callback.
I must have a little talk with Mr. Barkley.
Sadly, Barkley is not in this episode, but he was a great character, wasn't he? In a nearby saloon, we've even got our resident Mexican guy sporting a sombrero. Yeah, that was just an excuse to show that clip. Anyway, they end up at the saloon, because where else are you going to go in a spaghetti western, and find their adversary.
He's killed 23 men. He's the meanest and the toughest gunslinger in the West.
You are under arrest.
Is that so?
Oh my god, did Worf just do that move where you drive the person's nose into their brain, killing them instantly? Okay, I guess not, but that's a missed opportunity. But yeah, that was too easy, so Alexander turns up the difficulty setting.
You are under arrest.
Looks like Sheriff Worf's here to arrest me.
They start over, and it's definitely more of a challenge this time.
I'm beginning to see the appeal of this program.
God damn it, Worf, stop being so cute.
Okay, boys. Saddle up!
So the bad guys are about to get away with everyone's money, but...
I suggest you find a new line of work.
Go Counselor Troy!
She loves Western stories.
Wait, when did she become cool? Meanwhile, once again Data's head is opened up. I swear I didn't choose this episode based on any similarities to Clues.
Okay, I'm gonna need to access your auxiliary inputs.
If it's so easy to pop those little hatches open, I wonder why it's not always happening on accident. Geordi comments on how it feels weird seeing Data's insides.
Yeah, but you're not just another electronic system.
Thank you, Geordi. Nor are you just another biological organism.
Oh, I love these two.
Establishing computer link-up.
A little later, something goes wrong, though it's not clear what at first.
There appears to be an energy fluctuation in my neural net.
Let's check the interface programming.
Back to the holodeck, Worf is wondering what to do with the prisoner.
What are his rights in this century? Is there a trial? Or shall I execute him?
You're hoping for the latter, aren't you?
We're supposed to hold him till the U.S. Marshal comes. And then we'll take him to Rapid City for a trial.
But it turns out that the criminal, Eli, has a powerful father who he thinks will bail him out.
Your pa's no match for Sheriff Worf.
Yes. When your paw comes, we will be ready for him.
You're no match for the Hollanders.
Wow, Deanna's totally committed.
Counselor, I would appreciate some support in this matter.
Durango. I'm called Durango.
Yes, Counselor Durango.
She doesn't appreciate Worf breaking character.
Perhaps you would consider becoming a temporary deputy.
For a price, $500.
So Alexander makes a trip to the bank.
Deanna, how do you know so much about this period in Earth's history?
It turns out that her dad, who was human, used to read her stories about the Old West.
I always wanted to play the part of the mysterious stranger.
Yeah, she's definitely more legit than Rimmer.
I've seen westerns. I know how to speak cowboy. Leave the talking to me. Dry white wine and Perrier, please.
Worf is about to find out the hard way that his character has a love interest.
You are so brave.
Thank you, Ms.
Annie, you big galoot. You best not forget that tonight.
It looks like this is about to turn into one of Quark's holosuite programs. Or maybe Lister's version of Gumshoe. But naturally, he politely turns her down.
It's another woman, ain't it? It's that floozy down there at Miss Langford's House of Pleasure.
Now that sounds like one of Quark's holosuite programs.
You sure got away with women, Sheriff.
Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is rehearsing a play, but the script has been replaced with a poem that Data wrote about his cat.
Felis catus. Is your taxonomic nomenclature an endothermic quadruped? Carnivorous by nature?
Hold it.
I guess it's a good thing he can't feel embarrassment. Back to Alexander, he gets kidnapped on the way back from the bank, per the orders of... Data?
He's more valuable to us. Alive.
Also, the computer won't listen to Alexander's commands. Meanwhile, Data is a cat person. I knew there was a reason I liked him. Spot is such a sweetie.
I have formulated a new mixture of foods specifically designed for your highly selective tastes.
Except for when she's being a butt. Come to think of it, that reminds me of someone.
I find it extremely difficult to predict what you will find acceptable.
Welcome to being a cat owner, Data.
Spot. You are disrupting my ability to work.
I love watching Data interact with his cat. It's cute that he thought she would just stay down.
Vamoose, you little varmint.
I'll have to try that with Tara.
What do you have?
Klingon fire wine.
This ain't Kansas City. We ain't got none of that fancy European stuff here.
That's almost as bad as Rimmer with his dry white wine and Perrier.
Marvelous.
I already showed that clip.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Commander, what are you doing here?
So, for some reason, Data has taken the place of Frank, the father of Eli. Worf thinks that Data just joined in on the program like Deanna did and just plays along.
Nothing at all, Mr. Hollander.
Is there anything you want in exchange for my boy?
I do not negotiate with criminals.
Not so fast.
Commander, what are you doing?
And it turns out that Worf can't end the program either, so it looks like everyone who is in it is stuck there. Also, Worf got injured, which isn't supposed to happen. So this seems a bit familiar, right? Except Data seems to be playing the role of the simulants instead of Crichton, which is kind of an interesting twist. Except Worf can already tell it's not really Data.
I cannot explain.
For some reason, the computer's making these characters look and sound like him.
What's the matter? Was my paw a little too rough on you?
And now Eli is also being played by Data, though not really.
My pa ain't gonna like it if I come home all bruised.
Actually, hearing Brent Spiner do that voice reminds me of his recurring stint as Bob Wheeler on Night Court.
Running a worm farm. We were seduced by the glamour of it all.
What happened to the worms?
Stampede.
Good times. Totally blew my mind back in the day when I realized that was him, by the way. Brent Spiner is amazing.
Worf, wait!
Deanna reminds Worf that even though the safety has been shut off, this is still a holodeck program, and if Worf, well, wins the game the way he's supposed to, the program should end automatically. I guess that's a downside to the AR nature of the holodeck. There are no helmets to take off, so they gotta do it the hard way. So he still needs to play by the rules. So he goes to try to find out if any of the other characters witnessed Alexander's abduction.
When the interface malfunction occurred, subroutine C-47 was replaced by elements from my personal programming.
Back to the real data, apparently some of the replicators are dispensing nothing but cat food, which is kind of hilarious.
I've been formulating nutritional supplements for Spot.
And kind of sounds like something that would happen on Red Dwarf.
Can you just try and give me a black coffee? That's a bucket.
They still don't know about the holodeck yet, but Data slips a little here.
I reckon the process should take less than 2 hours.
What did you say? You said, I reckon.
According to my memory logs, I did not use those words. Y'all must be mistaken.
Okay, he can't use contractions, but he can say y'all.
Mr. LaForge, perhaps you should take Mr. Data to engineering, see if you can find the problem.
Yeah, good idea. Back on the holodeck. Wow, how did Data end up with Peterson's arms? Actually, the characters on the holodeck who look and sound like Data seem to have his abilities now, which is gonna be really bad for everyone else. Worf comes back and Deanna tells him about this. So Frank shows up to visit Eli.
How they treating you, boy?
Real bad, Paul.
How many Data episodes end up with Brent Spiner playing multiple parts in one scene? He must be a pro at it by now.
You sit tight, boy. I'll have you home in time for supper.
Frank offers Worf one more chance to release Eli.
I have reconsidered your offer. I will release your son in exchange for my deputy.
Meet me in 2 hours. You be in front of the saloon. I'll be in front of the livery stable. Strangers ain't invited.
Agreed.
And Worf just thinks this is all gonna go smoothly, because why wouldn't he be honorable?
But we have made an honorable agreement.
They're not concerned with honor, Worf. This is the ancient West. There's a gunfighter out there who has the speed and accuracy of an android.
Yeah, you guys are kind of screwed.
Howdy, Commander.
Meanwhile, Data has just gone full-on redneck.
Well, we figure part of my memory structure
was replaced with information from the computer's recreational database.
This is killing me.
You got it, partner.
So Geordi has started a memory purge, so Data and the computer should be back to normal in an hour or two.
Commander, you just sit tight. We'll have this all fixed up in time for supper.
Good.
Back to the program, Worf is planning his strategy, and it looks like the saloon lady has forgiven him and is helping him out.
Lord knows why I keep risking my life for you, Sheriff.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Miss Annie. I'm in your debt.
Worf has rigged a kind of temporary force field to protect himself.
How long will the field last?
No more than 15 seconds. It is highly unstable.
Let's hope it's enough.
That aerial shot is a lot more impressive than anything in Red Dwarf, but it still reminds me a little of this shot. Time for our showdown at high noon. Oh, now Data is the Mexican guy from the beginning, and the henchman Worf knocked out. Yeah, this is extremely dangerous.
Get down! Alexander!
Worf activates the force field just as Frank starts shooting. Frank has blown all of the ammo in his shotgun, but Mexican guy throws him a pistol. Wow, maybe Worf is the Riviera Kid.
Go ahead. Shoot me.
This is actually kind of heartwarming. Worf realizes his kid is watching, so he sets a good example by sparing the bad guys.
Do not show your face in this town again.
Aw.
Father!
Are you all right?
Yes.
But the program isn't ending just yet. See, Worf beat the bad guy, but he hasn't gotten the girl yet.
Sheriff! You're as handy with a shooting iron as you are with a woman's heart.
Data has no cleavage. I can't decide if that makes it better or worse. I don't even want to know what kind of fan fiction has been written about this. When the program just can't end fast enough. Later on...
After what happened, I guess you'll never want to go back to the ancient West.
The town of Deadwood may face danger once again. If they do, they will need a sheriff and a deputy.
Aww. Yeah, I think Worf kinda liked being in the ancient West. You big dork. Oh god, we even see the Enterprise fly off into the sunset like Starbug did. I've been treating Gunmen of the Apocalypse as the default because it's the one I'm more familiar with, but this episode actually predates Gunmen by a little less than a year, so we have kind of the opposite of the situation with Clues versus Thanks for the Memory. If anyone could have done the stealing here, it could have been Red Dwarf this time. I am not saying they did, for the record. If nothing else, I'm sure it takes more than 11 months to plan, script, film, and edit an entire season of Red Dwarf. Before I rewatched this episode, I was all set to say that Gunmen was the better of the two, but I don't think I can choose. Last time I gave a little extra credit to Memory for being the first episode to humanize Rimmer, which kind of made it special. Gunmen of the Apocalypse is also special because everyone gets to be a badass, the comedy is brilliant, and we get a little extra sense of camaraderie among the dwarfers, which I always love. Fistful of Datas has the badassness and camaraderie like all good TNG episodes do, but it's also hilarious. Brent Spiner is amazing in it, and we get to see Worf be a good dad for a change. Enjoy it while you can. Also, Data and Drag. So yeah, they're both pretty amazing episodes. Each won an Emmy even. Probably the biggest difference is that the Dwarfers went into the game to help Crichton, knowing what they needed to do, where Worf and friends went into a regular holodeck simulation where things went wrong later, but the game aspect hits pretty much all the same beats. One more interesting thing about Fistful of Datas is that it has some of the same elements as Elementary Dear Data, which also involved the holodeck becoming dangerous because of something Data did. I guess that's all I have to say about A Fistful of Datas and how it compares and contrasts with Gunmen of the Apocalypse. This is probably going to be the last video like this I do, since I can't think of any other episodes from Star Trek The Next Generation that are very similar to episodes of Red Dwarf. The only other one that some people have suggested is The Game versus Better Than Life, but the Better Than Life episode really doesn't go into the addictive side of the game, only the novel did. And I'm just not that interested in reading it, and who wants to watch a Wesley Crusher episode anyway? Other than that, I've been getting a lot of requests for The Promised Land. Hopefully it'll be the next video, but I don't know when that'll be, so please be patient and don't bug me about it. That's it for now. See you next time.
Anyway, I'm not much of an actor.
What?